And I remember asking myself, like,
I think we need to start. If you want, in your back, you might want to sit here and turn your chair. Well, some people do. This is what I did. I don't think, if you can hear my voice, so clap your hands. If you can hear my voice, turn this way. I need to get started. But if you need another cup of coffee, as Martha did, she looked at what I was going to talk about and she said, I don't love coffee.
So they go up for more.
She's drinking mine for me. Doreen, if that's, there are some chairs here, you can just turn. Oh, I can hear you. Okay. All right. Joe and Patty cannot be here, so I am live streaming it.
Sorry.
For what it's worth, somebody here that you don't, oh, I know. Deb, would you like to introduce your daughter?
This is Rebecca. Hi. Hi there.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Love you, sure. Thank you.
Rebecca came for breakfast with her parents. Very nice. Okay, so I have to be honest, I don't know tons about this yet. But I thought if we could all kind of be on the same page, and doing some of the same thinking, or you thinking and I'm thinking on the same topics, that it would be helpful as we go through the next year. I am not anticipating great changes, all right? I am not anticipating great changes. They are not planning to merge churches. They are not planning to close churches. If churches decide to close, that is the church's decision. So, but it is going to be a change. So let's start at the top. Okay? When I was looking at putting all this stuff together, I noticed that the true lectionary reading for today was from Hebrews. Hebrews 11, and it was more than just the first 3 verses. But this is what I want us to think of. Right? Faith in what we don't see. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith, this firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living, it's our handle on what we can't see. The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors, set them above the crowd. By faith, we see the world called into existence by God's word. What we see created by what we don't see. We cannot see the future. I do not know what this church will look like in 5 years without cooperative parishes. I don't know what this church will look like in 5 years with a cooperative parish. So we have to depend on our faith and to know that we have some say. Right? Bishop Tom Dickerson, is now our bishop. He's been in New England bishop for a couple of years. He is also the bishop of the New York Conference. Yes. So things are being coordinated and all over the place, right? So in the New York Conference, he has been working on cooperative parishes.
Are you talking New York City?
New York State. I do not know what is in the New York Conference. I am assuming that if there's nothing churches in New York City.
There are.
Yeah,
all over New York.
Yeah, so I don't know. I only know, the 6 states that are in the New England Conference. I can't name them.
Okay.
And then there's probably, there may not be as many states involved in the New York Conference. But, I think Pennsylvania. So anyway, he's got a huge job in front of him. And he's been trying to bring his New York conference and his cabinet, the cabinet for New England, to work together to share ideas so that things are a little bit easier. And it's also helped with knowing about cooperative parishes because they have already started a New York conference. It comes from the 2024 Book of Discipline, paragraph 206.2, and I think it's on. No, I didn't put it on the paper there. I've got handouts for you so you can read. So, but when those two cabinets, which represent the districts, in those two conferences got together, they of course were making goals and setting priorities. And one of their goals is to nurture cooperative ministries and care for the diverse needs of urban, suburban, and rural contexts. So in other words, how can we take care of all of these churches in a way that will work with shrinking attendance, less money, the number of churches that can't afford a full-time pastor, right? Whether it be a licensed pastor or an ordained pastor. So they're looking to see how there might be some answers. And one of the answers actually are people like me, certified lay ministers who lead a church. So, but we know what Hebrews means. You know, it's defining that faith, that confidence. And so the district superintendent said they're not looking, as I've already said, to merge churches. Their hope is that all the churches will remain open, but it is a fact that many churches are too small to support full-time pastors, and most are facing shrinking attendance and resources. So we don't really fit that part of it, but we're very small. Over half of the churches in the conference have like 25 people. There's those bigger ones, but that's the average. So, and one of the things that I thought about this is that some kind of a grouping with other churches in our area might help us when it's time for me to do less, because we will already be good neighbors with other churches and the people in those churches. So there's a few things I know. And I know that the conference and the district have placed us with 5 churches. United Church in Monmouth, which I think somebody went recently and there were 10 folks at church. The East Monmouth United Methodist Church, the Winthrop United Methodist Church, the Wayne going up, the Wayne United Methodist Church, and the Reedfield United Methodist Church. So we're all kind of like on this, we almost could use 133 and go up, you know. And so a cooperative parish is an ongoing structure. It's not something that's set in stone, right? And it will evolve. It's going to change, just like anything else. Because each parish, each church is unique. Each parish will be unique, you know, because each person is unique. So the needs are different. They are planning to have a parish council. Now, we tend to operate without a council, and we're not supposed to, because we're small, we've got good teams working, we share information, but you're supposed to have a council, and you're supposed to have a staff parish relations board. But we will have our say, because on that parish council will be representatives from this church. Lay and.
What is the purpose of that parish council?
Well, to start with, it's going to be kind of like a vision team. What do we want this parish to look like? How do we coordinate? But so it's not going to be, there's not going to be some guru from the conference or the district that sits on that council and says, this is what these churches are going to do. It will be people from the churches, these 5 churches.
So more people from our church will be on another committee. Doesn't decrease.
It will, there in hopes that it will decrease some of the committees in town. But that, I don't. Guys, I don't know if I can answer questions now. Go ahead.
We're a small church, as is all of these that are here, but we're well established, we've been around for a long time. Are we gonna have to forfeit a lot of stuff and weaken us, or does it all sound like it's just gonna be processing programs other than?
Can I go through that? Because I think I'm going to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you.
Okay? No, our stuff is our stuff. Okay? Our church is our church. There will be strengths. There will be benefits. And we get to see them and we might not even really understand them, but it's, and I have to tell you that I have this little in because Mom has stood alone in the school system and then it became an RSU. And I'm not sure it was all that we wanted it to be. But if this goes the way it's supposed to go, we will have a say. We'll be able to engage in ministry with churches that have more outreach. We never go on a mission trip. This guy's been trying to convince Ann and I for I don't know how long, pack up and go on a mission trip. No. But you know, Reedfield Church goes regularly. If somebody in this room wants to go on a mission trip, you're going to know people from Reedfield. You're going to know about that mission trip. And you can go. Right? If you really have a special gift, and we might not be using it as well as we should be using it. But Winthrop needs that gift. We can share. You don't have to start going to get churches all the time. This is still your church. So we are limited as a small church. I know we are mighty and we do a lot. We do beyond what many small churches do. But we can be teachers. We don't have to have somebody take up stuff. We can teach them. Can't we? This has been working. What we're doing here has been working since 2017. So we have things to share. Things that other small churches might need to know. We can share resources such as staff, lay people in clergy. Facilities. You know, if we really get together with a couple of churches and we want to do a big shebang, we're not going to do a big shebang in this one. Sorry. So how do we join somebody and do that big shebang? We do it a lot of times in packets. Right? So we're at the center, and our church are doing what they call cooperative ministry. We already share. We share facilities. We share some of our resources. Like Jeremiah and I, somebody was asking us about how we do Bible school, and I said, well, we use their facility. We buy the material, and we try to have both churches provide people, which isn't always what we can do. And then it becomes a community thing. These walls are not our parish. Can I say something?
Because I came here because of your cooperation with the food banks for 2 towns. And that's what brought me here. And I think this cooperation is like what we should be asking ourselves is, God, what are my gifts that I can contribute to this cooperative? And vice versa. What gifts are they going to give us? We just don't know that yet. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, talks about what we can do.
Yeah. We have a broader reach, we have joint work programs.
We can have new programs.
What's that?
I said you can have new programs that you haven't had.
That's right.
I know you're talking about doing missions and stuff, but why can't we do with a small group like those churches getting together? We would be able to do almost like a habitat for humanity with that many churches and that many people.
And, think about youth groups.
Exactly. We don't have any young people.
No,
It's so sad.
but with more resources, Reedfield may have to come down, may have to figure out whether we would hold a youth group. It probably wouldn't be here all, we could share youth groups, Bible school, programs, other programs, some that they're already involved in, and we can start to take part in it. So joint programs, broader reach, specialized ministry. If 5 churches pool a little bit of money, wouldn't it be really cool to get a youth ministry? Somebody that specializes. That's one of my hurts all the time, is, we could do a youth group. There's enough youth that come to Bible school to help. Norm and I did one, but I can't. I cannot add that on. But what if there's somebody new that just has this burning desire to do a youth group? Or somebody from Reedfield. Connected is only anyway. To be connected is a Methodist tradition, and we try very hard to stay connected to each other. Connected to Monmouth, we're not really, our outreach isn't very much in East Monmouth, but to stay connected. And there will actually be more chances for lay people to develop their skills. Because if the lay people of each of these churches get together, who knows? Who knows? We know that you don't have to have gone to divinity school to lead worship. Right? You guys can do it without me. Yeah. Yes. So, and there can be more flexibility and more innovative. I bet there's somebody not too far from here that could really maybe step us up on our live streaming. Know what to do. Maybe there's somebody in the Reedfield Church
that would come down at 8 o'clock in the morning and tape our shows or whatever. Who knows?
Nothing present, nothing gained.
Exactly. So, and then, of course, it doesn't really pertain to us, but in southern Maine, there are groups that have come together. They're just beginning to consider themselves a cooperative parish and do some of that work. And what is benefiting is the culture, because when you have one Korean family here and here, a resilient family here, there can be one of those churches, if they choose, that will hold a service for those families. It's just, or they know that there's others. It's no man is an island, is really part of my philosophy. It is a process. It is not a program. Right? And these are things that we will work on this year. We need to develop relationships with the other churches and the other congregations. We need to identify gifts, not just here, but with the other churches, resources, goals, priorities of each church. Right? We need to identify the things we have in common. Winthrop isn't that far. Wayne really isn't that far. A few years ago, I went to Wayne every Saturday for a farmer's market. Go up this way, go that way, it doesn't take very long. What do we have in common? How do we share visions? What visions do we already share? And then we have to get down to the discerning. How is it best for us, these 5 churches, to share and collaborate? It won't look like the other group that I met with the district superintendent, which they're just calling it the Androscoggin group right now. It's Brunswick and Cumberland Falls and Lisbon Falls and mine. That sounds like a much harder group to be together with than right up the lakes. Right up the lakes. And then form will follow function. We have to figure out the function before we can decide what kind of quality operations. And I still maintain what it will look like next July or next August, because it might not be what it looks like in 3 months. So, there is a bit of a timeline. The district superintendent will assign a cooperative parish coordinator next month. It will be somebody from these 5 churches. That will be somebody that will just sort of help hold us together, call meetings. But before we even do that, first step is doing what we're doing at this point, sharing information with the congregations. And then probably the last week of this month, I will be meeting with the other clergy type people in the other churches. I think Jeremiah and I may be the only certified lay ministers in this particular grouping of churches. The others have lay servants and lay speakers, but I think we're the only ones that are certified lay ministers. I have a packet for you to take home, 4 pages, that came from the director of Connective. This is what a title. Director of Connectional Ministries and cabinet. So he sits on the cabinet, put together. And there will be training that will be provided. If we really want it, we can request somebody come talk to us
Reverend Kelly can do that. She's our district superintendent. We can say, Arlene, come and make this even clearer. We have questions that keep popping up. Okay. So, one of the things that I'm asking you to do, and it's on another piece of paper, is to pray. Pray individually. We will pray as a congregation as we go forward. We're going forward. That's one thing that we don't have a choice really in, is to say, nope, we're not joining, you can't make us, we're gonna do this all by ourselves. And they may say, well, go ahead, but we really don't, to me, we don't have that choice. I don't know that I want that choice. We need to learn as much as we can about this model. And I have a packet of things that I took what we've got in front of you from, and then I have pages from the Director of Connectional Ministries. And you can go online, but the thing is, don't take the stuff that you read online as gospel for what our cooperative parish will look like. Right? Because we're going to create with the other churches how we're going to cooperate. Right? Build relationships with the other congregation. We try to do that, don't we, Gail? We try to go up there for something, and then we have them come down here for something. Thanksgiving is coming up, and we usually come down here. But really, we don't have a lot of connections. So we need to maybe make a little more effort to connect somehow with those other churches over the next few months. And I invite you to think of ways.
Well, like something that really jumped out to me. Too bad we didn't know about this. We're going up to North Carolina next. Wouldn't it have been great to have all the churches? And we could do that in September. Like in fall, we could kind of look at the city about that.
And we can say to Gail, go to the center and invite that congregation. If Jeremiah wants to bring us, they won't want to come to the club. But yeah. And Metawanda will be a great place. Common to all. They have that big large, they have a good common room, a common building.
But also, we establish in the minds of all of us people whose kids have outgrown the advocacy connection, the importance of that to that facility, and that our churches are not just going to be people.
We have a pretty good connection with Metro. Well, the last supplement that all those funds are going to Metro. So we're very lucky that we can do suppers and not have to make them fundraisers for the electric bill. So we do support Metro. And there's a lot of changes going on for the cancer conference too. And then let's start thinking and listing our current ministries and missions. Not only do we need to think about hopes and dreams of our church and our congregation, what about you in your church life? What are some of the things that you would like to see? And then list our strengths and list our challenges. And if you start making lists and I start making lists, maybe one of the next things we do is kind of combine our list and look and see where, as a group, we're coming from. We have some newer people coming. I mean, Susan's coming up from Auburn to bring her dad, but here she sits, and Linda's from West Gardner, and Robin's from Litchfield, and the Webbs are from Litchfield. well, look, we have people from Georgia, you know?
They all.
So much love for all of you. You know, we are a very blessed congregation with many different talents and backgrounds and experiences. And these guys just keep coming every summer, you know? The halls didn't want, they had to miss today. Can you live stream it? 2 years ago, would I have thought of that? No. You know, so so those are really the things that I wanted to share. And you might want to sit right now and put that over. Trish has already started to make comments on hers. I always make comments. That's why I can't give you the original that I got from the district superintendent, I wrote all over it.
That's my question. Is this just within the state of Maine, or how,
No,
this idea, how far spread is it?
it is for the whole New England conference. And so if you go to some places like Vermont, they have things going on that they can call hubs, where it might only be a couple of churches, you know, that they Zoom in some of their meetings, they Zoom in Bible studies, they work together on different things already, but they don't have some of the structure behind it.
But it's in New York, it's in Pennsylvania.
Well, they're
It's
not
part of-
labor.
I know, but it's probably, this is something in the United Methodist that's going clear across, not
The-
just Maine.
The bishop
Or
is
New
in
England.
hopes. His plan is, it's not a hope, his plan is that cooperative parishes will be New England conference.
You know, can I just say something? Sure. I grew up in Maine and in the Methodist church, and it used to be, there was a bishop for Maine.
Yes, there was a,
And we had
Maine
three districts, maybe more, I remember three. And things have tightened. So now our bishop has all of New England, and now you say New York too. I mean, that's a overwhelming administrative nightmare to me. And our district superintendents have split the state, that's a ton of churches for them to individually meet with. So I can see the great value on the administrative level to have this cooperative oversight. It'll be interesting to me, I mean, Wayne and Rachel are a ways from us. I can
Yes.
see,
well, and
of the first three, I can see easily possibly collaborating on more.
and that may be how it works out.
Yeah.
And we,
And then, and those two. But I can see it's almost quarterly getting together as all five churches. Somewhere, could be Metro, could be something else. Just have a family day.
Sing along day, family,
Campfire.
learn about each other.
well, it's probably only been 6 years or so, that we have not belonged to Jesse Lee cluster.
Right.
That was the step that they did a few years ago. They would take churches that had something in common geographically, and they clustered them. And Jesse Lee was the circuit rider that was known for this area. And so we have the Jesse Lee cluster. And I guess when they started, there was a lot of things they did together. But towards the end, we used to have Lenten services. Each of the churches in the cluster would volunteer. Like we might say, come to East Monmouth, and Randolph might have said, we'll supply the minister for the service. You know, and then all the cluster was invited to come to a Lenten service. And then one of the big things that they did we did as a cluster was Palm Sunday. I think it was Palm Sunday. They had a big music night. I remember going to it at Green Street, because Green Street is a large facility, it still is a large facility. Their church is now meeting in another church down the street, so that they can still worship together. So there were things like that. And yes, Wheatfield is a hall, you know, and I thought about the folks that are not in Monmouth. You know, our little parish, this little parish, is not made up of just Monmouth residents. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of a hall. But
I think my initial big concern was mornings,
more,
meetings. We're a small church, apparently others in this perspective, is that we're clustered, arguably smaller. And so I think of adding more meetings, or to no meetings especially, to have more. And that's a concern.
I think this is one of those, we'll have to see how it works, but to share, I can't really see us sharing our finance team, but I can see somebody from the finance team going to, yeah, or to be on that council.
Maybe that's where if people have good internet connections, some of these people will have a conference call.
I was going to say, they're not using this way.
That's what will happen.
Not all of them, but some of them.
I'll just share that I'm on the finance committee, and I do the women's Bible study, and I do church. All of those are done through Zoom or YouTube. So I'm on the other side of the computer screen for finance meetings, for the women's Bible study. And it works for me.
And I think there's ways to make that even better. You know, Randy and I were talking the other day about, instead of having, you know, if there were people actually on the other side of the screen trying to communicate with us, use TV screen. You know, you can have somebody that's monitoring the chat. You know, we have our CLM meetings, are Zoom. There's district meetings that are Zoom, you know, webinars. We don't go to conferences anymore. We Zoom in. And it's not great, but it's better than me trying to drive to Scarborough for a meeting. So,
It's doable, it's just we all have to get our focus on baby steps to make it doable.
it sounds like just the cabinet, which is all of the district superintendents plus more, meeting as a group, they've had more time to think about this. There's been rumblings and murmurings and, you know, conversations about cooperative parishes for a couple, 3 years. I mean, it's not new away from us. It's new to us. So hopefully they will allow the congregations to have that grace of time to have conversations, to have I wonders, have I'm worried about this. You know, a simple worry came from Elizabeth Batchelder Smith yesterday on an email. She's been Jeremiah and my coordinating pastor for several years now. She's retiring in a year, but she doesn't want to give up the relationship that she has helping these two certified lay ministers. And I think that will happen, but hopefully she can have until she retires, you know, before.
She's got somebody involved.
Well, see, it will probably come from somebody in the parish.
Yeah.
You know, it just needs to be a clergy person. And Jeremiah and I don't need a lot of Maybe I do. So I want to just, we'll close with prayer, but I want to leave you with a request for open-mindedness. And, when people started saying, no, we have to become a cooperative parish, we have to become a cooperative parish, I was thinking, really? I like my church the way it is. And then, they'll probably put us in the center. We're already in the center, And so we need to do some letters. Do some, I hope. That's the way with you, your church, this church, and the center church working together is already able to take to the eye, right? And these churches, they call it the river churches. It's the Green Street congregation, all the way down to Dresden, from Dresden, Richmond. Now, they've been doing this river church thing for a while. They started sort of innocently enough with doing book studies together. And then it grew with the needing to do something about Green Street Church. Churches along the river not being able to afford a full-time pastor or even a full-time pastor like that's what we do. And now there's several churches. It's where Bob Moody tried to come from the other way. And they have an elder and a licensed pastor. And then they have certified lay ministers. And yes, the pastor is full-time, the licensed, she's actually from Brazil, Mary. I have to love her husband's name too, because he's a great man. She's part-time, half-time. But there's a church every weekend, or 2 churches every weekend that get Angela. And then if they don't have Angela, they might have Mara. And if they don't have Mara, they have a pulpit club or somebody from their group. They will become a cooperative church. They don't have that name yet, but they are doing it. And ours won't look like that, I don't think. We don't know what we're going to need, but I don't think it's going to be quite like that.
We talked Monday, because it's been hours on the website. You all know me, I'm not shy, and I think a little bit outside the box. But what an opportunity for us. This place is special. You all are special, you know that. We know that. We have a light in this church. And this is our opportunity to shine this light on a bigger area. You know, when Moses had to lead people, and I was thinking about this since Monday, because you said, I don't know where this is going. Well, there are a lot of Jews that didn't know where they were going. Right? But the Lord promises us He'll get us there. But I think the only friends we don't have are people we haven't met yet. And I think this is our opportunity to take what we have here. And some of you who are new know this. You came here because you saw the light in this church. You saw that this place was special. Well, the Lord says, go out there and shine that light. Don't put it under a basket. Right? So,
When's he gonna preach my theme song? Go ahead, keep going.
Say it, brother.
so all I'm thinking of is what and I've been praying about this for a week, because when you first told me, I said, I don't want to lose what we have. I don't want to lose the recipe, right? Don't like Kentucky Fried Chicken change the recipe or whoever, that one. We have a recipe, and it works. But maybe we put it in a book, and we get that to other places, and we've done that in this church. And I look at this as a phenomenal opportunity for us to do what the Lord has blessed us, and He has. Elizabeth and I have been at a lot of other Methodist churches where we had to decide, do we pay the pastor or the electric bill? We don't have that problem in this church. The people here are amazing. You all are amazing. And Noemi and I were talking about, we need to do what, we have more blessings than we're able to share. And maybe with this cooperative process, we'll have the ability to share more of what we have. So I know, crazy Sicilian, but I'm excited. I think this is really something that the Lord is asking us as a church to go out.
He needs to be on the committee.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
I don't know how many times we can afford to fly him up from Georgia.
I don't know, it might be very much.
But he's right, guys, he's right. It's an opportunity. And think of how many times you say, oh, I need to do this. I don't know why I need to do this. I don't know why I'm going there. You know, Randy and I got so it's like, well, it's just another adventure. We don't know what it is, but we're going. And so it can be what we make it in lots of ways. And we've got the best leader, yes, that we could ask for.
Our true one.
That's kind of where we're going. But we need to remain rooted in Christ. And reach out. Okay? You know,
Question,
Christian.
not related to this,
Oh.
maybe. The 16th to the 17th is the workday over at the other church, right? You have that in the back of the wall.
It's not a center church. It's a central church from Augusta who has offered to come and do work here.
I took it as a work trip,
No, no.
They changed the bath, the sanctuary rules.
That's my name.
But, yeah, but it is sprayed. So
I know, and they
they're not painting that this time. Okay, I'll shut up and listen.
got. When they did that, the contractor, he did the job, good job. He handed off the gun to somebody who'd never used a gun before. That's what happened there. I saw that.
The Central Church has a day where they go, because they're very huge. In my section, big church, several services and things. So they have this day each year. They go out in the community. And they've approached us again, right? But we wanted to keep it small, so it's like, you guys did that. This little one out here, this got to be the increase. There's things that have to happen for that. And Ken talked to the man, so I don't know what all the deal is. And the back here needs to be painted and not with a spray gun. Okay, so somebody is coming, a small crew is coming here next weekend, and they are doing the work. And
I'm saying, if it's over there, there's your first chance.
they,
Is it the same that came in?
probably not, but it's the same church.
Just,
And I don't even know that the leader will be the same, the man that lives down near you.
Yeah. I didn't know something. The guy that's working with Ian is, Jim McDonald from John McDonald. He's from someplace over the village. So I have reading material for you. But don't let it overwhelm you. Okay? So please take, this just fills in the blanks that I left on the paper you have in front of you. Okay? Some of the same information, but a little more detail. And this is from the connection director for the whole New England Conference. He's got a big job, and he is working closely with the connectional director in the New York Conference too. So he went with a why, what, how. Why the Cooperative Parish? What is the Cooperative Parish? And he actually listed different kinds. I would read those with a grain of salt, because I don't know what ours will look like. And you'll recognize some things as, oh yeah, we've done that, we do that. You know. And then how do we do it? What do they have kind of as a plan laid out for us? Check it out. Know that we're just at the very beginning. It's not going to happen overnight. So please go ahead and take some reading material, and as I get more information, or if there's a training session that's coming up, somebody can go with me. It doesn't have to be me, you know, maybe it'll be a Zoom thing. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
We're good.
Thank you for taking care of this.
Oh, I'm not taking it.
I just was asking you a question. What about the pets? My husband asked me. They want to remember your name.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have problems. Please.
No, I don't.
Still have to pray, because you know what? Everybody else.
You know the guy that did I don't work at the transfer station. I go to check. Do you think he would be interested in
I'm not seeing it.
What's his name? I can't remember. I wrote the check. I should. Yeah, and he seems like he did a good job. You know, maybe you could, oh, thank you, Dale. Maybe you could invite me to the church.
Are we saving green? I left the out on the table, all wrapped up. Sure we go. That one can get you as well.
Well, why are we redoing the back of the church or something here? They didn't do a good job. Well, you know, I just had, you know, I've always had fun. I learned very young that you want to be careful who's doing it.
because if it's not done correctly, it just creating. So if these people are gonna come back, which I applaud their effort, that they want to reach out and want to help, and that's all good, but maybe we need to have a little more control over what they're doing, or if they're doing it correctly. Hanging your shelves, and you know, I also worked at the garage, and it doesn't matter whether you're taking automobiles or whether you're painting buildings, it's always separate.
Excuse me, hey, no, you stay away.
So I just kind of wanted to bring that up because I know you're on the maintenance stuff. You know, it's important that it's done correctly because if it isn't, you just redo it. And I think because of the quality of the things, I was never a person for you can't do it 100 times and you might as well decide, you know, and then it's one and done. So that would be something that I would think of, you know, is doing something that is more or less. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. But it's just, maybe it's healthier for us, but it doesn't matter. Even inside the apartment, and I always get the best paint because the labor, you know, you can't wash it. You wash it and it's on your rack. You know, like it just washes right. Yeah, I end up repainting. So, when you put the addition on the house, you know, like, there was no way we were gonna have vinyl or anything like that, you know, he wasn't going on that one, so. I ended up, I did my barn and I did the garage, and I know this is really funny, I share this with everybody. Do you know Joe Allen? He does work with my husband, he's excavator, dump trucks, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I learned this with Joe. I did it with hydraulics. And I brushed it every stroke. I did a really good job. But, you know, I had more people come to the house to see the addition. They're like, wow, that looks really good. What did you got there? And I don't want to tell them that I paid $50 for 5 gallons of solid oil. But not. So I just really good. I gave you some water. But when I get here, absolutely, and the end doing that, it's labor intensive, but it's gonna last, because you're really working it in. Yeah, the spraying, you know, you're getting it on your lawn. 20 years, we'll know whether I was joking or an idiot. Anyway, it was just a concern I had, because you know what? So is Alice gonna be back with us? So anyway, I'll look back in the checkbook, I know I just wrote that check. And it was a down payment, so the guy could get the materials and stuff. It wasn't for the whole job. No, he's going to work on the back of our church, which is what got me thinking. Somebody just painted that, you know, why are we doing it again? I don't know, maybe I'm happier, but I'm getting old, I don't remember things anymore. Well, no, I may not be, but
And very nice.
older every day, right?
I think we got all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Maybe some fire.
the guy in the transportation, yeah. Yeah, and I thought,
Between that and then it was. I came in and church. And it was reasonable.
yeah.
I came from a small.
That's all.
Why don't we do one church? You get some kind of better feel for people than knowing.
I was pretty. His first name was Kevin. Yeah, that's what I have a whole lot of house. I have a house. Because we just had that other tree that was last year. Yeah, well, I was telling her, I just wrote a check for a down payment to the guy who's gonna redo it. Yeah, Mason, that was the last name. And he's only doing the back, I think. Yeah. So the estimate must have been over 3,000.
Anybody want to do this now?
Yeah. I was just wondering why we had to do it because they didn't.
This is eggs and cheese. That was the croutons, and this is the tater tots. The new one. I'll get you a little bit. I love them. I can stand down there.
And I don't need to be moved my holiday at work to reach her.
That got, but you still have to
My nurse.
Okay, what do we do with the losers?
You don't have to. They do it wrong.
Yeah, so you probably didn't have my right foot done.
That's the way I saw that. Somebody. And it's very nice to have a lot of volunteer, but.
Tater tots, it was long. That'll work great.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, but maybe.
My credit's coming, I wish I could get it.
Or let I do the bushes or something.
Anybody else want to do this to take home?
And it's just a thought, to do it.
Oh, I know.
Thank you for being special with all this. It was beautiful.
Oh, good. Right.
I'm gonna be getting in touch with you this week. You were on vacation and then I was gone, and so I got some things I gotta find out how to do. I was pretty active.
I guess that's just later in March.
All right, well, thank you. See you.
Bye-bye, thank you. See you next week.
Whatever's left in there.
I keep,
Oh, okay.
But it's like down.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you.